A new report from Canada's Privacy Commissioner says the Tim Hortons mobile app violated privacy laws by tracking users even when they were not using the service. The report says data was used to infer where users lived, worked, and if they visited a Tim Hortons competitor. The watchdog has issued 4 recommendations, including a call for the company to delete any remaining location data. Tim Hortons has agreed to all of the recommendations. So for more reaction to this, we're joined live by Prashant Kotte, cybersecurity and tech analyst. Retest, we spoke earlier. You had a chance to look at the results of this probe. Did anything stick out to you?
Well, what really stuck out to me is the fact that they were doing this in the first place and just the extent of what type of data was actually being collected. So, what would a reasonable person expect when they enable location on the Tim Hortons app? It is probably to where's the closest Tim Hortons and being able to place an order. But it went well beyond that. It was actually collecting individuals' locations when they were at home, when they were at work. And that can be problematic because you can start creating really detailed profiles on individuals, which can be extremely intrusive.
So, Retest, are you saying that when people program or create apps like the one for Tim Hortons, they can just kind of bypass all this security, privacy stuff and be able to track people even when the app is not in use? Or did people blindly accept and agree to the terms without realizing that, tracking their location was not in the small print or the fine print?
Yeah, and you make a great point. Like, what was actually in the fine print? And here's the thing: is most of us will download an app, and we're not, we don't go through the terms of services. I do because that's my job. But most of us just hit, I agree. And what are you actually agreeing to? And this is one of the big questions that was explored in the report. And it's this idea of, yeah, I consent by hitting I agree, but have I meaningfully consented? And do I really know what I'm consenting to? And that's where the reasonable person's test comes in. A reasonable person would say, yeah, I accept to knowing where the local Tim Hortons is. I don't consent to you tracking me 24/7.
Right. And Retest, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Did Tim Hortons, in fact, put anything in their fine print before users, chose to accept the app?
It seems based on the report that they did, right? They said we're going to collect location-based information. But again, it's this idea of, okay, it's location, but and just the importance of location itself. Yeah, we talk about living and working, but what if you have a medical appointment? What if you go to a political event? What if you go to a sporting event? You could see how when you start taking these little nuggets of, I guess, or timbits of information, and you put it together. And you start aggregating this information, that's when it becomes extremely kind of troubling and scary, especially if it gets repurposed for advertising or sold to third parties, which you actually consent to.
Wow, that is scary. I like the pun there. Tidbits of information, Retest.
My apologies, yeah.
Yeah, so what can be done about kind of governing these apps or, things on the internet to increase, I guess, user privacy protection going forward? Is this the government's job? Is it the internet's job? What do we do?
Yeah, clearly we need, it's everyone has responsibility here. And yes, we need more privacy protection. We need more robust legislation when it comes to this, especially ensuring that organizations are held accountable when they don't get meaningful consent and collect information such as this. But also the vendors themselves, don't put out. This is the bad business decision when you put something out and you're not being completely transparent with users and also platforms. So you think about Apple, Google. If you're going to allow individuals to download apps onto your devices from your app store, ensure that they're meeting the privacy legislation, ensure that they're getting meaningful consent. And if they go beyond that, hold them accountable.
Retest, last before I let you go, what's your advice to users of apps going forward? Should they be reading the fine print, such as yourself, even though that can be a pretty tedious task?
I truly believe that you should know what you're signing up for. But realistically, there are certain steps that you could take. If you're going to give access to an app, to your address book, to your photos, or to your location, think twice. Like, does an app really need access to certain information? And a lot of these devices can limit that type of privacy-related information. So enable it where possible. Okay, very good advice there. Cybersecurity expert and tech analyst Prashant Kotte. Always a pleasure. Have a good day. Thank you so much.